All right, today we are diving into something that feels a little bit like magic, a little bit like alchemy. We're going to talk about how to turn that raw, kind of messy honeycomb into a beautiful, pure, golden block of beeswax. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to pull it off. So this is really the heart of the matter, right? You've got this raw comb, maybe it's from your own hives, maybe you got it from a beekeeper down the road, and it can look pretty intimidating. It's a bit of a mess. So how do you get from that to the gorgeous, pristine wax that you see in things like candles or lip balms? Well, let's break it down.
Okay, first up, let's talk about the goal here. We're calling this from gunk to gold because honestly, the transformation it's just that dramatic. You'll see. The key word you need to know here is rendering. And really, it's a simple but totally brilliant technique. You're basically just using heat and water to do all the hard work for you. See, when you melt everything down together, you're just taking advantage of some basic physics. The pure wax is lighter, so it separates itself from all the heavier gunk. Leftover honey, pollen, all that hive debris.
And this really shows you what we're talking about, doesn't it? On the one hand, you've got the raw comb straight out of the hive. And on the other, that's the prize. That's what we're aiming for, a solid, clean, gorgeous block of beeswax. And it's the rendering process that's the bridge between the two. Now look, there are a few different ways you can render wax, but today we're going to focus on what is pretty much considered the safest and easiest method out there, especially if you're just doing this at home.
And that method is using a slow cooker or a double boiler. The reason for this is really simple, and it all comes down to one word: safety. You have to remember, beeswax is flammable, so using low, indirect heat is absolutely crucial. This whole method is designed to avoid direct flames and super high temperatures, which, not only cuts way down on the fire risk, but also helps keep that beautiful golden color and amazing smell of the wax.
All right, time for the main event. Let's walk through the step-by-step guide to rendering your own beeswax and getting it perfect.
But before we get into the how, it really helps to understand the why. The science here is so simple. Wax doesn't mix with water. It's hydrophobic. And it's also lighter. So what does that mean? It means when you melt it all down in water, the pure wax is just going to float right up to the top, and all the heavy gunk sinks to the bottom. It's a really elegant, natural way to separate everything. Okay, first things first, let's get your gear together. You're going to need an old pot or a slow cooker. And I cannot stress this enough, make it a dedicated one. Seriously, trust me on this, trying to clean wax out of a pot used for food is a nightmare you only want to experience once. You'll also need some water. Distilled works best if you have it, a filter like cheesecloth or even a paint strainer, a mold for your finished wax, and just a plain old butter knife or a scraper for cleanup later.
So here we go, the whole process in 6 easy steps. Step 1. Put your raw comb in the pot and cover it with a few inches of water. Step 2. Heat it up on low, and remember, we want a gentle melt, we are not boiling this. 3. Once it's all liquid, you're going to carefully pour that hot mix through your filter and into a mold. Step 4. Just let it cool down, preferably overnight. The wax is going to harden into a solid cake right on top of the water. Number 5. Lift that beautiful wax cake out and just scrape off any gunk that's stuck to the bottom. And finally, step 6. If you want it to be extra pure, you can just do it all over again with your clean wax cake. Okay, pay attention because this next part is absolutely crucial. You need to keep the temperature below 175 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 79 Celsius. If you let it get hotter than that, you're going to risk scorching the wax. And what that does is it darkens the color and it can totally ruin that amazing natural honey smell. So remember the rule, low and slow is the way to go.
Okay, just so you have the complete picture, let's take a quick look at a couple of other ways people do this. I think it'll really show you why the slow cooker method is our top recommendation.
This really lays it all out. You've got the solar extractor, which is awesome, right? It's passive, it just uses the sun's energy, but of course, you're totally dependent on the weather. Then there's direct heat. Yeah, it's fast, but it comes with a really high fire risk, and like we said, you can easily damage the wax. That's why the slow cooker method is just a winner for most people. It hits that perfect sweet spot of being super safe and reliable, even if it's a little bit slower. All right, we're almost done, but I want to end with what is, without a doubt, the most important part of this entire process, and that is safety.
Seriously, let's just be really clear about this. When you are working with hot, flammable wax, safety isn't just a good idea, it is everything. It's paramount. You absolutely cannot take shortcuts here.
So here they are, the golden rules of rendering wax. Think of these as non-negotiables. First, never, and I mean never, leave heating wax unattended. Second, Always have a fire extinguisher nearby and know how to use it. And third, do not pour waxy water or any wax residue down your train. It will cool, it will harden, and it will create a plumbing disaster you really don't want to deal with. Just scrape it into the trash when it's cool.
And that's it. That's the whole process. You now know how to take something that's raw, messy, and kind of funky and turn it into pure liquid gold. So the question isn't how do you do it anymore? The real question is, what are you going to create with it? Candles, lip balms, furniture polish, the possibilities are endless. And now they're all in your hands.